All right, Dead Space 2. Xy-a-lot difficulty. Take a drink.
You're stretching.
Nope, these are pronunciations submitted by Rebel Inc. So I got a couple more for you.
I still think the languages is the better idea. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway. Did I say Chapter 6?
Nope.
Chapter 6. It's kind of a long chapter, actually. Longer than the last ones by quite a bit. So, this is kind of just collecting shit in rooms.
Yeah, there's a bunch of apartment doors that are open now that weren't open the last time you were in this area. Even though, like, when you go through areas that you cleared out before, there will still be stuff there. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter if you've been there.
So before. Is this the exact same area?
Exact same.
Or is it just like cookie
similar.
cutter houses, like where it's like an apartment building and like the north wing is identical to the south wing?
I wasn't sure, but then you go back into that area where you got the Venus de Milo achievement. And I was like, okay, it's identical. Like, that area where you are right now has to be identical to the similar-looking area that you were at before, except now it's covered in candles and blood.
Well, who lit all those candles?
The religious people.
Oh, they're still alive?
I'm pretty sure they pulled tricks like this in the first game. Like, where you would do a level, and then come back to it later, and it would be, like, the same level, but completely... almost different looking, like very different lighting and different...
Transmogrified.
Sure. Yes, exactly.
So yeah, this area seems identical.
I'm pretty sure it is. And does it matter if it's just cookie cutter, or does it matter if it just looks different? I mean,
I prefer it be cookie cutter.
But in terms of, like, the game developer spending their time developing it...
Uh-huh.
If it's cookie cutter, or if it's completely new, just looks different. It's the same zone, just with candles. It's the same process for them, just copying and pasting a world, and then changing, what's going on inside of it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
So you're saying the developers got lazy?
Not.
And that's why they used the Ishimura as one of the later levels?
Not necessarily. Maybe. Not necessarily, because, Halo does backtracking all the time, but they don't change a lot.
Right.
About when you go to the same area a second time, And that, I think, is kind of lazy. This, they actually completely redid. And also, like, Halo, what do you define as lazy? Like, do you remember the level in Halo Reach where you're flying the helicopter around, and there ended up being that section that was empty for half of it, and then when you run out, it's Ivory Tower, the Ivory Tower multiplayer level. Yeah. Well, okay, some of the multiplayer levels are developed specifically for multiplayer. Some of them are just taken straight out of single player.
Yeah.
Is that lazy on the multiplayer developers' part? Like, okay. They're spending more time developing that single-player area because they want it to work for multiplayer. But
right.
But they're reusing it. Like, is that lazy or is that efficient? Or does it matter?
I don't think it matters. As long as the game's fucking good.
Right. I don't think it matters either. And the fact that we couldn't remember if this was, like, playing through this game twice... Mm-hmm. We weren't sure if this was the exact same area. Mm-hmm. I think that means that they did a pretty good job of reskinning this area. Yeah.
I assumed it was like a different portion of the building that had the same architecture.
Right. Like, a futuristic space age Hooverville.
Right. I don't know what a Hooverville is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Google.
Okay.
Well, okay. What I remember it basically being is... I don't remember what decade it was in, but like a company basically owned a town. Think of here's a Hooverville, Cypress Village, Cypress Creek. That's a Hooverville, where a company like owns a town
And they own all
builds
the stores
houses.
in the town. I think I learned about that in school.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if in Cypress Creek they owned all the town or all the stores, or like that's required. But like they build a town because they're expanding and they need to be able to house enough people to work their huge factories that they're also building.
Right.
So it's like they buy thousands of acres of land in the middle of nowhere that no one lives at yet because it's dirt cheap, and then they build everything to stock their factories, basically.
Yeah.
And typically those are very cookie cutter neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Suburban, boring.
Well, yeah, if one company makes all the houses, might as well just hire one architect to make one blueprint.
And they all have carpet flooring because it's Hoover.
Repeat.
You can get it. It's Hoover, so they have carpet floors. No, never mind.
Yeah, Hoover makes vacuums. So these enemies this is your first time seeing these things. They're called cysts.
And they're disgusting.
They are like cysts.
Yeah.
Like if you YouTube cyst videos, that's about the human version of what.
So they're kind of like proximity mines.
Yes. Well, the ones on the ground will commit suicide like that, but the ones on the wall, like their bomb doesn't land back on them, so they'll keep shooting.
And you get an achievement for catching one of their cysts that they spit out and throwing it back at them to kill it.
Yeah. And if you're having trouble with that, if you do it with stasis, it's incredibly easy to catch.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's good to know for later levels, because there's definitely some parts. Like, this first part, they're almost all on the ground, so all you have to do is, like, trip them. But, like, later on in the game, it turns into, there's tons of them on the ceiling, and you end up, like, shooting them just because you keep, like, throwing junk in front of them, and you get kind of tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get to that point where it's like, all right, I'm just going to shoot these damn things.
Bronze semiconductor.
Yeah, I don't know that this room was worth it. But oh well. I mean, some of them are so overwhelmingly worth it that I think if you open every one along the way, and especially since they don't really own up to what elements are random and what aren't. You know, I think like schematics are not, but maybe what type of semiconductor is.
Who was it? Rebel was telling me about, or he was live streaming. No, part of his Let's Play, and he found an infinitely respawning node room. I think in chapter 7.
That would be the next chapter.
And like you can save and reload, and the node room's filled back up again.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.